Thank you for joining us on Utah Families. I am the host, Rebecca Cressman, and something very close to my heart is in an organization called Intermountain Healing Hearts. And coming up just around the corner is the Walk for Healing Hearts. And we thought we'd talk a little bit about congenital birth defects, the Intermountain Healing Heart Organization, and how it helps families here along the Wasatch Front. So we've brought in an amazing team into the studio this evening. We have Melissa Andrew. She is the Angel Liaison and the Heart Walk Coordinator with Intermountain Healing Hearts. Melissa, thank you for being here.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having us.
And then we also have the Treasurer, Christina Davis, with Intermountain Healing Hearts. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you. It's good to be here and talk more about our organization and how we can help other families.
Right. And as a treasurer, you do have some specific fiscal duties, but you're also a board member and a volunteer and someone who makes a big difference in people's lives. We'll be talking about that. So thank you for being here. And then she doesn't have her crown on this morning or tonight, but she doesn't have her crown on tonight, but we do have with us Miss Springville Mapleton 2010, Sarah Benson, who is a congenital heart defect survivor. Sarah, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, and that platform of yours, early detection, screening, and awareness in children with CHDs. And that's because it's coming from your unique experience.
Yes.
Well, we're excited to talk a little bit about that, and congratulations.
I'm excited to talk about it.
And on winning the crown as well. Let's first talk about what the Intermountain Healing Hearts does for families, because it is very interactive. It is a support network. So, Melissa, let's talk a little bit about that, and of course, Christina as well.
Okay. Yes, Intermountain Healing Hearts is a nonprofit organization that was started here in the Wasatch Front, and it benefits and mostly sees children and adults who are seen by cardiologists out of Primary Children's Hospital in Salt Lake City. And the biggest focus is it brings people together so they don't feel like they're the only one in the world that it's going through this experience in this really difficult time.
So when you think about the typical experience, and I know, having been at some of the events that the Intermountain Healing Hearts represents, that there is no similar experience in everybody's adventure. In other words, there are so many different types of congenital heart defects. There seem to me that there are dozens.
There's actually over 35 different heart defects, and any one person can have more than one defect combined together. So some people you'll see just has one defect, others might have 5 or 6 grouped together. And so, but like you said, no two people have the same experience. Even people with the exact same diagnosis will travel a different journey. And so our goal is to be there to help throughout that journey. And even if the child or adult doesn't survive this journey, we're there to support the families afterwards as well. So we say once you're a heart parent, or you're always a heart parent, regardless of how that things go for your child.
And when you say you're there for a parent who may not have a child survive their congenital heart defect, it's true. I understand that not only do you provide that grief counseling or support and friendship as that child's life is waning, but if the family desires it, you're there at the graveside, at the funeral. You're there afterwards to say, many of us have been there. We've suffered that loss. We understand your pain, and how beautiful to think that that's what Intermountain Healing Hearts, it does heal the heart when you have someone say, I understand, and I feel that with you. Does the typical expectant parent, do they get the information about congenital heart defect usually when the baby is still in utero, or are we still surprised when that child is born?
I think as technology has gotten quite a bit more advanced, there are more cases that are pre-diagnosed with heart defects, but there are still there's a huge number that still go undetected until the child starts having some serious problems, which can be quite scary if they don't get the help that they need right away.
You'll see symptoms like failure to thrive,
right,
low
and
energy.
Just the color, and it, things can go downhill really, really quickly. And it is something that isn't routinely screened for at birth.
That's surprising, especially now I look in the eyes
Mm-hmm.
of Miss Springville Mapleton, and I see beautiful coloration, great energy, beautiful smile, and yet your story is a powerful one. So talk to us a little bit about your own personal experience with the heart defect.
Yes, I wasn't diagnosed as a baby. We found out when I was 17 years old. So I went...
And that was, 2 years ago?
Yes, 2 years ago. So I was a junior in high school when they found out. I was on the swim team, I did cheerleading, and I was just really tired when I would run or swim. And I was having back pain, and so they decided to take me in, or my mom decided to take me in and get an MRI because we thought I had scoliosis or something that was causing me to have back pain. And I was really sick while we were having the MRI, and
you felt just not well, like
yeah,
low energy, or
I had the flu. I was just really sick. And so it was supposed to be a 6-hour MRI, and
which is still lengthy.
yeah, and I'm very claustrophobic, so I was scared to do the MRI. But it ended up being only about 3 hours, I think. And when I got home, the doctor called my mom, and he was like, "I hope you're sitting down right now." And I was laying in bed next to her, and I just remember watching her face, and she was so surprised. And she got off the phone, and she was like, "Sarah, you need open heart surgery." And I was very confused because I thought I was going to be having something to do with my
maybe
spine.
a brace on your back to
Yeah.
correct the scoliosis. That is what your hypothesis was. Sure.
Yeah, and I had a congenital heart defect called a coarctation of the aorta. And basically what that was is my aorta was pinched closed to the size of a pinhole. So my descending aorta, that's where the blood goes through to the lower parts of the body. The blood wasn't flowing through. And I had always had cold feet. I never knew why. And the doctor was so surprised that I had been on the swim team and cheerleading.
Very physical endurance activity, swimming especially. You're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about lots of hours, consistent activity. Did he say to you that physical activity actually aided in your physical health since your heart was struggling, or was that putting you at higher risk?
I was at very high risk. My blood pressure was extremely high. It was 175. It was just extremely high, and he said my heart was beating against a brick wall, just trying to pump the blood through. He was very surprised that I hadn't had a heart attack or passed out and, suddenly died. So I was very lucky to have it found, and that's kind of why, that is why my platform is about congenital heart defect awareness, because a lot of parents just don't know. I think that technology is a lot better now. They get screening more. I wish that I would have known, and I'm sure my mom would have liked to have known when I was little that I had a heart defect, just so that I wouldn't have been at such high risk.
Right, but still you think about that. There were some symptoms, and yet we wouldn't know. The average person, we're not educated to understand that, to know that, to have constant cold feet might be a problem of circulation, that to be exhausted or tired. A teenager is often exhausted and tired. How do you differentiate that? But you were blessed by, and I guess also just rewarded by having an intelligent mom who said, "We're going in and we're going to go see what is happening." And that saved your life.
Yes,
It did. No, did you have open heart surgery as well?
I did.